Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a plunge into Ali Hazelwood's novella Deep End.
Yeah, looking forward to this one.
Definitely. And this isn't just, a standard book report. We're really exploring what makes the story work. Our mission, like always, is basically to pull out the most important bits of knowledge and insight from the source material we looked at.
Giving you that shortcut to knowing what's what with this novella.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're working from a pretty detailed, spoiler-free review.
Okay.
It covers, well, everything. Plot, themes, Hazelwood's writing style, the characters, even recommendations for readers.
Gotcha.
And just so everyone knows, this is actually the second novella in her The Love Undercover series.
Right, and we're going to try and unpack the core stuff in Deep End for you, looking at how the plot, the characters, those key themes, how they all kind of add up to its appeal and what it really offers. And you'll definitely find what so many people love about Hazelwood here. It's got her signature mix, STEM heroines, that real emotional vulnerability, and, well, the sizzling romance.
Can't forget that.
No way. So we'll be digging into Hannah's journey, Aiden's character, and definitely that whole deep end symbolism. What does it really mean?
Okay, let's start with Hannah's world then. So we meet her. She's this brilliant, kind of reserved civil engineer.
Yep.
And she's recovering from a really messy divorce, pretty determined to avoid more complications, especially, with men.
Understandable.
Until she meets Aiden. He's a former Navy SEAL, now a swimming coach. And he's actually helping her face a big fear. Water.
The setup.
Right. The first meeting is purely physical. They agree. Strictly casual.
Famous last words in romance.
Totally. But yeah, as it happens, a swim lesson turns into something, well, deeper. It pushes both of them to deal with past hurts, emotional baggage, and this chemistry that just won't stay casual.
And it's great seeing Hazelwood, continue building this familiar world she has. These strong, sometimes kind of endearingly awkward women.
Yeah, love that.
And these emotionally guarded guys who just completely fall for them. Deep End is definitely described as steamy, thoughtful, and ultimately pretty heartwarming for a novella.
So as Hannah's navigating this thing with Aiden, the story digs into some really big themes. One that jumps out right away is healing and self-worth.
Big one.
Hannah's whole arc is about getting her confidence back emotionally, professionally, physically after this damaging relationship. It really captures that vulnerability of starting over, I think.
Yeah, it does. And that healing journey, it often connects with physical and emotional intimacy, right?
No.
But what's interesting here is how Hazelwood kind of breaks that down.
How so?
Well, it's not just about the sizzling romance. It's more about the careful building of trust. Like, through Aiden's patience, his non-judgmental vibe, when Hannah's at her most vulnerable.
Okay, I see.
So the physical connection feels like it grows naturally out of emotional safety, not just, a plot point. And that feels like a real Hazelwood signature, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It really does elevate it beyond just, oh, they have chemistry.
Exactly.
And then there's that really literal theme, but it's so packed with metaphor of facing fears.
The title itself.
Right? Deep End.
It's not just about swimming lessons, is it? Her fear of water feels so symbolic of those deeper anxieties.
Get being vulnerable again, getting hurt.
Precisely. So overcoming those fears in the pool and in her heart, that's central. I'm curious, how does she make that journey feel real, especially while also dealing with, a new physical relationship?
That's a really good question, and it points straight to one of Hazelwood's constants, I think. Her focus on clear, respectful communication.
Yes. Consenting communication are huge in her books. Totally. And in Deep End, she shows how vital that is, not just for physical intimacy, but for respecting emotional boundaries too, which is so important for Hannah's healing. It's a very deliberate thing she does in her writing.
Okay, let's talk about her writing style then. It's just so Hazelwood, isn't it?
It really is.
I was thinking about how she's so engaging and sensual, but still has that trademark wit. What parts of her style really stand out for you in this one?
Well, yeah, her writing here is just as engaging as ever. It's witty, it's sensual, and it's emotionally resonant, like you said. She mixes humor with these really genuine, heartfelt moments so well. It makes the characters feel incredibly real, even in, a shorter novella format. And those internal monologues, classic Hazelwood?
Oh, yeah. The overthinking.
Absolutely. Full of her heroine's signature anxieties, often sprinkled with those science analogies.
Yeah.
Which, for Hannah, the civil engineer, feels completely right.
It does fit perfectly. And speaking of that shorter format, I know some readers wonder how much story you can really fit into a novella. How does Deep End handle the pacing?
It's actually pretty impressive how she delivers a full emotional arc in that space. It's kind of like a high-speed emotional ride, but like in a good way.
Okay.
You get all the important emotional beats without it dragging. Now, sure, if you prefer a really deep, slow burn tension, maybe it feels a bit quick.
Right. Some might want more build-up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of readers will appreciate how tightly plotted it is. It still manages to feel complete, which really shows her skill.
The characters definitely have to pull their weight in that compact format. And Hannah, she's smart, vulnerable, a little socially awkward maybe.
Relatable.
Totally relatable. Her journey of rediscovering herself after being hurt, it feels very empathetic, very real.
And Aiden, quintessential Hazelwood hero, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Soft-spoken alpha type,
Yeah.
gentle, patient, really understands Hannah's fears. Quietly supportive, but yeah, definitely smoldering under the surface there.
He is.
And because it's a novella, the supporting cast isn't huge, but you do get little appearances or mentions of characters from her other books, like Stuck With You and Below Zero.
Oh, nice. That connecting universe.
Yeah, it really adds a nice layer, kind of enriching that shared world she's built so well.
So after digging into all this, who is Deep End really gonna click with the most, do you think?
Well, definitely if you're already an Ali Hazelwood fan, if you loved the love hypothesis or love on the brain, you're pretty much guaranteed to enjoy this.
Makes sense.
It's perfect for readers who like those STEM heroines, intelligent romance, or just anyone wanting a quick, steamy, but still emotionally satisfying read.
Got it. Quick hit of feels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're into themes of like personal growth after heartbreak, or you enjoy that grumpy sunshine dynamic, this will definitely hit the spot.
Okay.
That being said, it's maybe worth noting the chemistry is definitely there, but the instant connection might feel a bit fast for some people. That's often part of the novella deal,
Right. Speed versus slow burn.
Yeah. So if you really, really prefer a slow burn with maybe lower steam levels, this might not be quite your swim lane, so to speak.
Good point. So wrapping up on the novella itself, Deep End really feels like another sharp, sexy, and emotionally smart piece in her whole STEM romance world.
Agreed.
You've got the relatable heroine, the definite swoon-worthy love interest, those heartfelt themes about healing. It delivers what fans expect, just in, just over 100 pages?
Pretty much bang on.
Yeah,
It's great for romance fans who want that depth, the steam, and an empowering journey all kind of packed into one sitting.
So, okay, recapping the key takeaways. We've basically unpacked Deep End as this compact but emotionally intelligent romance. Focuses on healing, intimacy, facing fears, featuring relatable characters, Hannah and Aiden. And we really saw Hazelwood's signature style, that blend of humor, emotion, steam come through, even in the shorter form.
And I think what this really highlights for you, the listener, is how even a seemingly simple novella can pack in some pretty rich thematic depth. It shows the value of understanding an author's consistent themes, like we talked about with consent and communication in Hazelwood's work, and why those stories of personal growth after difficult times just resonate so strongly with readers.
Definitely.
Maybe think about how Deep End, even being short, gives you that full emotional arc. What does that tell us about really effective storytelling, getting it done efficiently?
That's a great point. And maybe one last thing to leave you thinking about. Given how Deep End uses that literal fear of water as such a strong metaphor for deeper stuff, fear of vulnerability, fear of getting hurt again.
Yeah.
What real-life deep ends might we be kind of unconsciously avoiding? And maybe more importantly, what could we actually gain if we chose consciously to just dive in?